photographer Carl Jones take us with them on a journey into this youthful subculture of Memphis. Tonight, in the first part of their series, they introduce us to these young people who have left the mainstream to be part of an alternative lifestyle, and they ask them the question, who are you?
The youth scene is driven in a large part by its music. This is called thrash, hardcore, or punk. It's harsh, relentless, and makes a point.
Pretty much rebellion, but it also concerns itself with social issues, ecology, government. It's always been very political, if not socioeconomic.
Mark Callagher, known as Angerhead, has been on the cutting edge of punk music and watching the kids that follow it for 10 years.
The aggression is primarily released through the music. You see the black jackets, black leather jackets, and you see the strange hairdos, especially shaving their head.
Yeah.
That's just a form of rebellion and attention.
A lot of people say like really backhanded compliments like, you know, you could be such a pretty young lady if you didn't have your hair like that.
I don't like the fact that people judge others by the way they look instead of looking inside someone.
The point, I believe, is to enlighten people to brotherhood and love and peace, you know. And I know that sounds like a bunch of hippie stuff, you know, and everything, but in a way it is. And our parents, we learned a lot of this from our parents who were hippies coming up in the 60s and the 70s.
The so-called Woodstock generation passed its legacy on to its children, and they've made its message of peace, love, and ecology their own.
Hi, brother. Welcome to Babylon.
With its blend of health food, alternative music, and irreverence, the Babylon Cafe has become one of the hot spots for alternative youth.
Down here at the Babylon, we're all getting together and we love each other and we try to share what we have, our minds, our food, and it's a good thing.
While drugs like marijuana, LSD, and ecstasy are still around, they're frowned upon. These youth in general are very health conscious, and many call themselves vegans.
It's people with kind hearts who are not interested in hurting anybody or any animals or anything, so they exclude all animal products and whatnot. No eggs, no meat, no cheese, dairy products.
Most of the young people I talk to are very clear-headed, intelligent, and concerned about the world they live in, and they're trying to change it for the better. Greeley Kyle, Action News 5.
Tomorrow night in part 2 of Who Are You, Greeley and Carl take a look at why some of these youth choose their alternative paths. Carl Jones find out why some teens go to extremes in clothing and music. This is part 2 of their series entitled Who Are You?
The young people that make up what they call the alternative scene are breaking boundaries and testing limits. Their clothes set them apart. Their jewelry and the places they put it positions them even further from the mainstream.
One night, I decided to do it because everybody else was, so I figured I'd go, oh, well, I might as well just do it. I pierced everything else.
I think in the beginning, when I first started dressing like this, maybe it was partly for shock value, but now it's just what I'm comfortable in wearing.
I don't see anything scary about myself, but I've been told that I'm scary looking.
It's about promotion of who you are, individualism. It's about expressing yourself positively. It's about expanding your consciousness about the environment. It's about, you know, it's about against sexism and racism. It's about bringing people together.
And while that may be true, mental health professionals say the need to belong may be at the root of the youth rebellion.
I feel that most of them are really looking for a need to be accepted by a specific group. They're looking for ways to build self-esteem, to a sense of belonging.
Greg Hughes at the Mid-South Hospital says this type of nonconformity is normal, but some teenagers do it for the wrong reasons.
We see most of these type teenagers come from broken homes, divorce, step-parents in the home, which creates, in a lot of kids, not all, but creates a lot of anger, anxiety, rebellion.
But on the whole, Hughes says this is generally a phase teens go through, and most of them will return to mainstream society as they mature. Greeley Kyle, Action News 5.
Tomorrow night, Greeley examines problems of the alternative lifestyle. Who are you? Greeley Kyle and videographer Carl Jones show us some of the problems these young people face.
Well, let's go on in and talk about it.
All right. The second time the show's been busted up here.
The raucous sound of the alternative or punk generation has been known to turn people off, and it even shut down a recent festival.
The police are here, and they say that we're a little too loud. We've been getting complaints, and we have to shut it down. They're going to issue us a citation.
Many alternative young people have adopted a vegetarian lifestyle, but some have become militant, defacing area businesses that deal in meat. Brent Shrewsbury is a vegan. His group refuses to eat meat or animal products, but he's quite passive in his belief, not trying to force his views on others. He says the violence comes from a vegan subgroup known as the hardliners.
And I agree with their beliefs. It's just I don't agree with the violence that they promote.
The nonconformist look the generation has adopted can cause problems with parents as well.
We get along okay now since I'm not living there, but while I was living there, it was pretty tight about what I wore and stuff.
Catherine's part of a group of young people who've left their homes and banded together. Buddy Douglas is familiar with their situation.
I know one household, there's 9 kids living in the house. And, you know, it's all of them can do to keep the bills paid and everybody fed, and all of them working.
I think a lot of that, the kids that are, you know...
Mary Naylor's daughter is close friends with that group of young people.
Those are the kids that just say, well, there's nothing here. There's no love. There's no home life. What do I have? You know, and so they go to the, you know, they go out and find a house, you know, to all live in together, to find a family. It's really sad.
John Gint says he used to be deep into the punk scene, but got out because he saw it trapping his life.
I mean, I was just to go nowhere. I didn't have anything. I was just, my life was going to nothing. And that's where I see a lot of my old friends now. I mean, friends I've known for over 5 years who haven't changed since the first day I met them.
Most observers believe young people involved in the alternative scene will someday come back to the mainstream, having learned a lot about life, its problems, and how to cope while conforming. Greeley Kyle, Action News 5.
Tomorrow night, Greeley explores how the alternative lifestyle affects teenagers' relationships with their parents.
Yeah, I did the same thing to my parents.
And I think most people are afraid of what they don't understand.
I don't eat meat, and we had a lot of arguments about me eating meat at dinner.
Parents were real conservative, so it was a real trying time.
Sometimes she goes out of the house looking like a junior bag woman, you know, and that sort of bothers me.
It's not unusual for parents to be upset about their child's clothing or music. Broderick Christoph says his parents didn't understand him when he was into punk rock.
You know, those times were like, parents are freaking out, you know, everything. because everything that you're doing is new and different to them and different from the way most other kids your own age are, so they don't have anything to reference you against.
But differences don't have to drive a wedge between parent and child. 16-year-old Mary Wills loves punk rock, has punk hair, and she gets along well with her mom.
I think I have a very strong, good, open relationship with my mother. You know, I've never felt weird about telling her anything.
I like her. I really do. She's a good kid. I have tried to instill in her to be creative, to be herself, to be unique, and that was fine. You know, what she wanted to wear was her choice.
Mary Naylor understands. As a young adult, she annoyed her parents by wearing trendy clothing, very similar to what her daughter wears today.
She will go up to the attic sometimes to get my old 60s clothes and wear them, which is great.
Ms. Naylor has this advice for parents.
I would say sit down and talk to your children. Find out what they're really thinking and not just what they want you to hear.
The worst thing that you can do is like have a super tight grip as a parent. I think you have to sort of, I mean, you have to keep some sort of control, but then you have to give them, you know, a little bit more, you know, a little of their own freedom too.
And then from that we go to the American cold weather.
Buddy Douglas owns a clothing shop frequented by area youth. He says parents should cut to the root of what the alternative scene is all about.
I think it's, as I said, a thing of boredom.
Boredom.
I really do. Because out of all the hundreds of kids I know, that's basically what I see in them. They're bored to death.
Adults, counselors, and those involved in the alternative scene say parents' interest and involvement in their children's lives could help keep some teens out of trouble. Greeley Kyle, Action News 5.
Who Are You? Greeley Kyle and photographer Carl Jones look to the future of these young people.
What's inside me? Love for humankind, for animals, peace.
I want to be a writer.
I want to go to graduate school.
I enjoy really meeting people and conversation. I enjoy communication.
What does the future hold for the people we've met this week? Are they going to continue living outside the mainstream of society? Most of those involved don't think so. Tim McCrary is part owner of the Babylon Cafe and knows many of the people involved in the counterculture.
Most of them will end up back in the mainstream just because that happens. I mean, that's your generation, the majority of the people that were supposedly, because I wasn't around, I don't know, but most of the people that were supposedly so out of the system in the 60s are back in it again.
Broderick Christoph agrees. 3 years ago, he was heavily into the punk scene with a mohawk and an attitude. Now, the responsibilities of college, a job, and living on his own have settled him down.
I miss those days of being at the Antenna Club and slam dancing and getting all bruised up and stuff. That was fun. Yeah. And, but you know, it's just, you have to grow up and you have to leave that stuff behind.
I just wanted something that was going to answer my questions.
A few years ago, Andy Kempora was seeking his answers in punk rock, drugs, and the occult.
It was just like I ran into a brick wall, and it was like, what are you going to do about Jesus?
Andy has now left the alternative lifestyle and is deeply involved in his church. Stoughton Outland has found a balance between the mainstream and the alternative.
Actually, I kind of go in and out of it, but I just think it's a lot of fun. It's a good reason to get together with friends and play music and get people out for a night.
However, some young people stay caught up in the lifestyle.
It's because they've got nothing else going for them. They have no life, they have no future. If they had an education, they'd be putting it to work, and they're just standing at a standstill.
The teenage years are a time of change and self-discovery, of testing limits and seeking independence. Mental health counselors say this time of rebellion is normal, a phase most teens work through then go on to lead productive lives. Greeley Kyle, Action News 5.
Observers of the youth culture say the average stay in the alternative scene is about 3 years. By that time, the person usually grows out of it because of the pressures of finding and holding a job in the real world.